Hey, this is WhyBeAre with BeamNG.drive, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Planet-class Locomotive. Yes, this is the very first train I've ever done a video for in BeamNG.drive, and the only logical place to have a train is on the train track, so we're going to teleport it over here. But you'll notice it is in the wrong orientation, so to fix that, we're going to hit J to freeze physics, then we're going to hit F11 to go into the map editor. Once we're in the map editor, we're going to hold Shift and hit C so we separate the camera from the vehicle. Then we can select the vehicle by clicking the little floating BeamNG.drive logo. We're going to go over here and select the rotate tool. And we're going to rotate this thing about 90 degrees or so it's lined up with the train tracks. And then we can go ahead and select the moving tool and move it so it's lined up with the train tracks. So we're going to move it a little bit to the right. And then we want it a little bit above the track so it's not actually inside of the track. Maybe a little bit higher. There you go. You can see there's a small gap there. Then we hit J to unfreeze physics. Train settles down onto the tracks, bouncing a lot, and that should be good to go. So now we're going to hit F11 to go back into the game. Then we hold Shift and hit C to become the vehicle again. Now the startup procedure for this is a little bit complex, so I'm going to explain it to you guys as I do it. The first thing I want to do is hit G. That makes it where the fireman starts shoveling coke. Then you got to wait 4 to 6 minutes for him to complete doing that, or you can skip the wait time by hitting the T key. Once you do that, you have to press F twice to open and close, or close and then open the cylinder cocks. Then you're just going to wait for a minute, and eventually you'll have a big old plume of smoke surrounding this whole thing. And once that happens, you can go ahead and close the cylinder cocks, and then you should be okay to go. Right here, though, barely even know there's a train. It just looks like it's a cloud of smoke with a stack in the middle. So it says you can close them, so we're going to go ahead and hit F to close it again. And then the vehicle is all set up and ready to go. So we just hit up, and it should be able to accelerate. I say should because it's not actually doing it right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set cruise control to on and put it just at like 9 miles per hour. And then I'm going to give it a little bit of a boost because it might be stuck on the train tracks or something. There we go. All right. Now it is kind of slow moving at the start, but it can actually get up to a decent speed. And I'm just going to go ahead and set the cruise control to be a really high number. So hopefully it'll basically hold it at full throttle the whole time. I don't think it'll ever reach these speeds, but I'm going to put it up to 60 just because that's like a reasonable number for me never having to worry about it approaching. And as you see, a little bit of a downhill maybe that's helping it gain speed faster than it would if it wasn't downhill. And I don't know how accurate that speedometer is because it feels like we're moving a lot faster than 24, 23 miles per hour, doesn't it? But that's the train. That's how you use it. And it actually is able to churn with the tracks on these kind of tracks right here where it's a pretty smooth and gentle curve. It has no problem staying with the curve and not rolling over or anything like that. You might expect it to do something crazy like that because BeamNG.drive physics can be wacky like that with lips like that, but it actually does a really good job of just staying on it. And it'll just keep going and going, and oh, it just clears under that log, actually. I didn't know if it would clear that or not. Now, this is one of the maps that the author of the train suggested using because it actually has train tracks. There were 2 maps he listed, and those are probably the 2 to use. If you want to try this on somewhere else, I really can't think of many other maps that have train tracks, especially ones where it'll actually work like this. So I would just stick to the 2 that are suggested. So now that you've seen it just kind of cruising along for a while, the next thing we need to do is see what happens when you put something in front of it. So we're going to grab a 200BX, and it really doesn't matter which one. We're going to spawn a new one, and then we're going to teleport it in front of the train. Huh. What is that? If I'm hitting tab, there's another vehicle that's just blackness. Must be something with this map. Anyways, we're going to hit J. Then we're going to go ahead and grab the vehicle, and we're going to place it right there. Then we go back to the train, unfreeze physics, and we're going to do this at full speed right into him, and it has stopped the train. It was not able to push him off the tracks, unfortunately. It went under the train, but it did a lot of damage to the vehicle, and the train itself is pretty sturdy. It doesn't seem like it got much damage at all. And I want to see what the vehicle looks like, but I'm afraid if I teleport it, it might repair itself. Nope, it didn't. So there you go. Hood has been removed. Front has been crushed. Pretty significant amount of damage. And then back to the train. Train is virtually unharmed. We're going to have to set the cruise control again and maybe give it a little bit of a boost again. Come on, get going. Oh, It's a little bit stuck inside the track, you'll notice right there on the right front tire, it looks like. Tire. I guess it's not really a tire, is it? We'll just kind of lift it up and maybe free it. Once it stops bouncing, it should be able to accelerate. There we go. Wait, what? It's just going to keep bouncing. So it might have actually gotten damaged from the impact because it can't stop bouncing. Like I'm just waiting and waiting for it to eventually stop. But I'm pretty sure the reason it's not doing so well is it's damaged. Like maybe the wheels aren't quite straight anymore, so it's just bouncing because of that. Which will somehow crash the game. So I went ahead and loaded up the same map, and then I went and placed the train in the opposite direction that we were going before, and we're just going to go ahead and try to get it moving. I'm trying to accelerate with just the normal acceleration, and it seems to be getting a little bit stuck, so you might have to do a little bit of a push again at the start to get it moving. So just a small, more of a pull than a push, but either way, just give it a little bit of starting momentum, and there it goes. It's a little bit crooked on the tracks, isn't it? Actually, I guess it's okay. It kind of straightens itself out. At first, it looked crooked, though. It's bouncing a little bit once again. I guess that's just the way the train goes. So a car in the road is too heavy for it to be able to plow through it, but we have some lighter things we could try placing in front of it once it's up to speed. And I think that's about up to speed. So something lighter we could put would be like the metal barrier right here. That's not too heavy at all. So we'll spawn one up right here. We'll just go and become the train, freeze physics, and we're going to place the metal barrier right in front of the train. And it's in a angle that is less than ideal, but let's see what the train does. Just pushing it out of the way perfectly, and the train keeps on going. A little bit bouncy from trying to gravel over it, but it didn't slow it down significantly. What else can we shove in front of this thing that's even a little bit more heavy than that? That's probably going to be too heavy, but we're going to try it out anyways. It's funny how the wall went all the way to the ground over there. We're going to freeze physics, teleport it up to there, and then reset it so we get an actual wall. Reset it so we get a wall! That did not work at all according to plan. Fortunately, the train is still going. Not exactly sure how I managed that, but it is still going. We're going to try this again. We're going to bring the wall all the way forward to... Let's go way ahead to up here. Hopefully it's not at a weird angle because of that. And it is. We'll just see what happens when the train gets there. If the train can get there, cruise control actually got turned off in the collision. We'll turn that back on. Good thing I put the wall quite a bit ahead. It gives it a little bit of time to get up to speed. Now, with the wall being at the angle it's at, I'm almost certain this will stop the train. Maybe we'll get lucky. We'll find out. I mean, the speed we're going, though, still not as fast as if I put cruise control back on immediately. I kind of blanked out about that one. And I know it should be coming up pretty soon. Now, I can see it in the distance. We're going to be going 15 miles per hour according to the speedometer, which does not feel accurate at all. All right, 15. That means the wall should be there. And it went through it. Lost a little bit of speed, but that time cruise control didn't even turn itself off. It just stayed on and it keeps going. All right, not bad. Like, I think if the car was actually shoved out of the way, it could have really drove through it. The problem was the car kind of absorbed the impact and continued to block the train. Is it still accelerating, or is it starting to lose speed even though it's supposed to be accelerating? I think it's still okay. Still good. Let's try a car again. We'll just try a really light car like the Pigeon. Get the service one so it's a bright orange color. Whoa, did it just get hit by the train? I think it did. The train just touched its front. So place the car right here. And that's like right in the way. I don't know if we can actually push the Pigeon because the Pigeon sits in between the tracks a little bit. I mean, this is not the way you're supposed to push something because you're coming in with such a hard impact. Usually you want to do a slow connecting kind of movement here, but hard impact, and yeah, we can push the Pigeon along. We're slowing down though because cruise control got turned off. Turn it back on and perfect. I now have a ramming Pigeon to use for anything in my way, which will absorb most of the impact, hopefully. Seems like it is slowing me down a lot more than I was hoping though, so definitely not something you actually want to use. But it worked. This time, let's go and try to push it out of the way. First, though, we got to get this thing up to speed. It is going way too slow to be able to push a vehicle out of its way. And so far, though, it seems like none of these impacts are really phasing the train. Just impact after impact after impact, and it keeps driving just as good as the minute I spawned it. That is pretty impressive to me. That's neat. There's a tunnel up there. That's a pretty cool looking tunnel, too. And I don't expect the smokestack to actually work as you would expect, so let me just kind of spin this around. Yep, the smoke goes right through the roof, which is probably the same thing that would happen if we were using a car that was spewing out smoke. So it's not the mod's fault, it's just the way the game is made. Good place to gain speed, though. Just a long straightaway. Once we're out of the tunnel, we should be able to hit whatever's in front of us. So let's go ahead and figure out which one is the pigeon. So the pigeon is 2 back. Gonna fly way, way, way ahead. Grab the pigeon and then teleport it right here. And we're going to put it just partially on the tracks, if I can get it off the tracks at all. Run away, pigeon! Yeah, that's not working, that's not working, that's not working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just yank it. Don't want to have an impact. And I could have, teleported it, which would have been easier, but yanking it sounded more fun. We're going to bring it more over to here, place it. And this time, it's only partially on the track, so I feel a little bit better about that. And I respawned it to get a fresh one, and it's fully on the tracks. Awesome. Yank it off of the tracks a bit. There, that's perfect. All right, where's the train coming? Oh, no, it's lost its speed. You must accelerate, train, or that will happen. Oh, that was actually awful. It got the train flipped over. That's unfortunate. All right, reset. And then we gotta change the color. Why? I don't know. Because I can. There's actually a preset color that's almost like Thomas the Tank Engine blue. They call it LNER Garter blue, but it looks like Thomas the Tank Engine blue to me. Yeah, it even got the red fronts. We ready to go now. So make sure coke is being shoveled. Hit T. Open and then close. Or close and then open the cylinder cocks. I always want to say it backwards. And there should be just a plume of smoke momentarily, if I did everything right. Yeah, I hear it coming. Just gotta be patient right here. All you can do is just wait it out until the train is ready. Can't see nothing. We can go ahead and close it. And then set the cruise control on. And I don't think it's actually the impact that stops the cruise control. I think it's when we switch between vehicles that messes with it or something. I don't know. Come on. Go! Go! Give it a boost again. I think it's accelerating on its own now. Yep, I hear it accelerating. And you can just listen to what the train sounds like for a bit because I haven't let you guys do that yet, so I'll shut up for a bit. Okay, that should give you a good idea of what it sounds like. So now we're going to go ahead and find the pigeon again. There it is. And we're going to try to teleport it in front of the vehicle again, or the train again. And this time I'm going to make sure I put it in a way where it can actually be pushed off the edge like that. Now we got to find the train. Come on, push it off the edge. Ah, it just gets a little too stuck in the vehicle to actually push it off the edge. That is what's happening every time. It just gets a little bit stuck inside of it, and then they become one, and the train stops. Or at least it loses so much momentum, it might as well be stopped. That's the pigeon. There's the train trying to accelerate, and we cannot move. And I also saw that you could mess with the parts menu just a bit. We could remove the wheels from it, which looks as ridiculous as you would expect, just having no wheels there. And it doesn't seem like we can actually move here, so... which apparently crashed the game, so let's not do that again. Instead, let's go ahead and try to do some kind of crash testing like stuff with the train. And I say like stuff because we're not actually going to drive the train into things. Instead, we're going to drop the train on vehicles like this 200BX right here, and maybe we could do it the other way around too. We're going to drop it from not too high up. We're going to do full speed right here. And wow, that really destroyed it, as you would expect, because it's so heavy. So reset that, reset the train, freeze physics. Kind of get some slow-mo going here. It's a little too much slow-mo too early, so we'll do 8 times slow-mo until I could see the train. Then we'll do 16. And then 100, just because it is such a hard impact. Might be worth being able to actually see it. There's just a lot of weight to the train, as you would expect, so it destroys it even from that relatively low height. And the top of the train starts wiggling, which is kind of funny. Now for the other way around. So we're going to go and just let the train fall to the ground. Let it bounce, do whatever it wants. Reset it so it's actually undamaged. We'll grab the car and drop it on the train, see if it even gets phased by that. And no, not really. All it did was damage the car, so we'll bring the car back up, and we'll swap that out for something heavier. We could do the, not cinder block wall, the concrete retaining wall. That thing is pretty heavy. We'll drop that on the train. Does it care? That it does care. And basically, we just kind of glitched it out, it looks like. We'll reset all the blocks and freeze physics right here, and we bent it down, but then you got a lot of spikes on, it looks like mostly kind of like the details. And there comes the wall for round 2. So maybe we could actually do something in between those two, like a T-series. That should be a good splitting point. So we'll just drop that on the train. And actually, that didn't damage it at all. Although now it seems like it's just sliding across grid map, possibly forever, because the wheels seem to have no friction to them. Kind of funny. So yeah, pretty durable, but those concrete retaining wall bricks are just really, really, really heavy. I guess we could also try something like the concrete barrier. It's a little more dense than the truck is, so it might actually do some damage. We'll see here. There we go. That's actually a reasonable amount of damage. We dented it, and it dented pretty realistically, as far as I could tell. Like, there's nothing about that looks unrealistic, aside from the fact that if you dent that, it would probably have some severe consequences in the near future, and you wouldn't want to do that. But you can do a reasonable amount of damage to the vehicle if you use the correct prop. Anyways, let's go ahead and finish this video up by bringing this thing to leap of death. Not going to bother with brutal slope because you have absolutely no way to steer this thing, so I would have no control going down the hill, and what we hit would be basically random. So the plan here is pretty simple. What we're going to do is we're going to just roll the truck forward a little bit, and then once it hits the hill, we're going to swap the truck for the locomotive, and then hopefully it'll just roll down the hill, and it'll fall down, leap of death. If it hits the jump or not, I don't care, as long as that happens. And we're just going to let this go in full speed. If it looks interesting enough, we might do it in slow-mo, but I'm expecting it to kind of be like that, where when it crashes, it's just going to be a polygon mess that's not really that interesting to see in slow motion. And yeah, I really can't identify parts anymore. It just is a mess. So we'll let it get to the bottom, and then we'll finish it up. This is one of those things which appears to not really be made for deforming, and more made for deforming other things, and just kind of the proof of concept of, hey, look, it's a train that has a really unique method of propulsion that is totally different than the vehicles. Anyways, till next time, this has been WhyBeAre. I'll see ya. Wait, how is it moving? What is going on? You're making some nonsense right here, train. Alright, I think it stopped. Anyways, like I said, WhyBeAre, man, I'll see ya.